guys, it's Kelly. I wanted to bring a makeup look to you guys today that was all drugstore, including the tools that I used. And I wanted to show you that you can get a great look that's age appropriate for pretty much anyone, and you could do it on a budget. Drugstore, all drugstore. And I wanted you to see that it's a nice, easy, light kind of look. I hope that you're able to recreate this. If you do recreate this look, please get on Instagram and tag me in it so that I can see it. I'd love to see what you do with it. But anyway, guys, yes, I will start the video now. And if you want to see how I did this look, then just keep watching. Okay guys, let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with my Chapstick brand chapstick. This one is in Key Lime. It's part of their Tropical Paradise line. Because I want my lips to stay really moisturized while I'm putting my makeup on. That way, when I do go to line my lips and put on lipstick, they're ready to go and they're not dry and patchy and that sort of thing. This is an essential step for me because I have chronically dry lips. So, okay. All right. This makeup look is going to be, I think that I've got everything drugstore that I'm going to need to do a complete makeup look. But it is going to be a light makeup look. This is going to be appropriate for someone who is a very young person and doesn't need to be wearing a whole lot of makeup. Or it can be appropriate for someone with very mature skin that needs to kind of keep it simple, and you know, you've got more mature skin and you want to kind of keep it simple. You don't want to be overdone, that sort of thing. It's good for somebody that is on a budget. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with my Maybelline Master Prime. This is the primer in green. I've used it once before. I'm not terribly impressed with it. But for the purposes today, I do need some color correction of some sort for my redness. And I've not been really able to find anything other than the Urban Decay that works that well. So I'm just going to kind of put this over some of my areas. Like I said, you know, I'm not terribly impressed with it, but I do need a primer. And this one has a green tint. It's just, of course, it's not anything like, it's nothing like the higher end actual color correctors. But at least my skin will be primed and we'll have to depend on the actual makeup to cover up, you know, the majority. Okay, and I like to keep my hair pulled back while I'm working too because I want you to be able to see my whole face and everything that I'm doing. Okay, after the primer, I think what I want to do is I want to go ahead and go in and do my eyes. Now, for my eyes, I'm going to need to prime my eyes. Even though I'm not going to be using a whole lot of makeup on my eyes as far as shadows concerned, it's always good to use an eyeshadow primer. And the reason for that is because even if you are putting a small amount on your lid, you still want it to stay in place for as long as you need it to. So if you're going to work or to church or to a friend's house or out to dinner, or whatever it is that you're doing, you still want your makeup, even if it's a light application of makeup, that you still want it to stay in its place. My favorite from the drugstore for eyeshadow primer is the Milani, and you can find this at most CVS stores. So I'm going to go ahead with my finger and I am going to just get a small amount, just a tiny little bit. Do you see that? And I'm just going to put that on my lid. Just kind of, you don't want to rub your skin, never, especially when you're young and especially when you're old. You don't want to rub your skin harshly. The older you get, like me, I'm beginning to see where my skin sort of feels loose on my face. So in other words, what that means is it doesn't really take much to make it move around. It looks like I'm tugging my eye when I'm just barely touching. So you do have to be careful. I have this, it's a duo. It is it's old. It's from Maybelline, and it's called Indian Summer, and it has a dark brown and like it reminds me of Makeup Geek Shimma Shimma. It's kind of that color. It's just a tan, light tan shimmer. And so this is all that I'm going to be putting on my eyes for today. Okay, I've even pulled out my Real Techniques brushes, so we're truly going full drugstore here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and go in with this lighter color. I will use it for my brow bone, but what I want to do is I want to go ahead and set down that primer that I put in. So I'm just going to take just a little bit. You load your brush up and then you tap off all the extra. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of brush this over, and this is a it's called a deluxe crease brush, but it's just fluffy enough for me that I can use it to kind of put on, because these eyeshadows do not they're not overly pigmented like you might find in a Too Faced or an Urban Decay or a Makeup Geek, that sort of thing. They're good for good, I mean, they're good drugstore shadows, but you're just not going to find the pigmentation in the drugstore that you will find in the more high-end brands. But that's kind of good for those of us that we need a light makeup day. We want to look nice, but not overdone. The older you get, the more that you really need to stay away from satins and foiled shadows and those really sparkly things. It's okay to highlight your brow, and I think it looks nice if you want to add a little sparkle to the inner corner of your eye. But as you get older, like me, and you have more mature skin and the skin in your eyes begins to droop and those kinds of things, those sparkly shadows are like a highlighter on your eye, and it brings attention to the issue rather than taking away from the issue. So with all of that said, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the brown here, and I'm going to be using, this is the it says base shadow brush from Real Techniques. It's just a small little brush, and I'm going to go into this brown, load it up, knock it off, and I'm just going to go to work on these. I'm just going to put it right in the crease, and that's all that I'm going to do. I'm just going to put this through the crease, and then we'll move on to the next step. Start in the outer corner, and remember, I put mine slightly in and above the crease because I have hooded eyes. So if you have those hooded eyes, remember that. And remember that you probably need to go straight across rather than windshield wiper. The older you are, the straighter across you really need to take your color. Okay, and you can see there's plenty of pigmentation in this. I like Maybelline, and a lot of the products I have here are Maybelline. So make sure you keep Maybelline on your radar when you're looking for makeup that is wallet friendly. Keep in mind that Maybelline and L'Oreal are both really good companies to purchase from. I like them. Okay, so I'm just putting a little bit of that through the crease, and I'm just doing these little circular motions in the outer area and bring it in. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Okay, now I went in just a little bit heavier than you have to go. You go in very light. If you feel like that's what you need to do, just go in really light. If you go in a little too heavy, which is kind of, I did go in a little too heavy here, but I mean, it's nothing that blending won't, help. So I'm just taking the other brush that I was using in that lighter color, and I'm going to start working underneath my brow bone. And you notice I haven't done my brows yet. I'm going to save those to the last. And then you can blend down into that brown or whatever color. I chose brown because it's complementary to blue eyes. So I'm just continuing to now go in a little bit heavier with that. And I'm going down in there and kind of blending. I don't want any harsh lines. One thing that I think that people really underestimate is the power and the result of using an actual brush. It really makes such a huge difference. It really, really does. Okay, I've gone in and I've kind of blended that out. It's a little bit more seamless. What I'm going to do now, I have this smaller brush, and it is called a shading brush. It's from Real Techniques also, but it's just a little flat shading brush. I'm going to go in with that lighter color now, and I'm going to really get on just the mobile part of my lid. I'm going to kind of lighten that up just a little bit, because we want, when we go to put in our liner and our lashes, the mascara, we want it to kind of pop, even though it's not a heavy application. Okay, so I'm going to put that to the side for now. To be perfectly honest with you guys, I looked through my entire collection. I do not have, and I'm looking again, I just do not have a drugstore pencil. I do have the NYX though for coming through my brows. I'm gonna have to use my Anastasia Brow Whiz, the product on one end, and this is the spoolie on the other that you brush through with. I'm gonna have to use this one, but this will I'm almost positive this will be the only product that I use that is not drugstore in this, including tools. So there are tons of different ones out there. You can get them in retractable like this one, which means that you don't have to, you know, sharpen it with a sharpener, or you can get the ones that do need to be sharpened. It really, as long as you get one, you know, don't go in with black unless you have jet black hair. I would say stick with brown for most hair colors and skin tones, because black is really harsh. And if you're trying to do a look that's very light and complementary to your skin, regardless of your age, you can overdo it really quick with eyebrows. So let me go ahead and start getting my eyebrows on, and then we'll move on to the stuff I brushed through. Okay, I finished my brows. What I did is I did my Brow Whiz, brushed through it with a spoolie, then I went in with the Ultimate Brow. Now I'm going to go back over it just a little bit, just like I did my mobile lash. I'm going to kind of just finalize what's going on underneath my brow with a little bit of the same light colored. So I'm only using two colors. And you can see that it's not overly done, but when we get our makeup on completely, I think you'll see the difference. I think that you'll be able to tell, you know, that it's just a very nice, soft, easy look. Okay, I'm going to save this until after I've gotten my makeup on. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to go in with the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless. I'm in shade 120, which is Classic Ivory. And yeah, Classic Ivory. I'm gonna go in with that. Make sure that it says matte and poreless. They have two different formulas in this line. They have the regular, which I have over here, and it's for a more dewy finish, but it's summertime here, so I'm gonna use the matte and poreless. And because I have more mature skin, this one does seem to work fairly good with my skin. So give it a shake. And I'm just gonna do the old fingeroo. I'm going to go down my nose, and I'm gonna load my face up. It really depends on you and how much you feel like that you need to cover. I'm just kind of, okay. Now what I'm going to do is I have this, this is a Real Techniques, it says buffing brush. It's soft, but it's just dense enough that I find that it works well with foundation. So I'm just gonna blend this in, and I'm gonna make sure I don't leave behind any lines underneath my jawline. Okay, you can tell that's a really good little brush. It's not as dense as I would normally like. In fact, anytime I'm using a foundation like that, I really prefer to use my beauty blender. But we're going full blown here with everything. So what I'm going to do first, I have the Maybelline Age Rewind. It's the dark circle eraser. You can see that. I have mine in the color Brightener or Illuminator, okay? So I'm going to use that on top of the Maybelline Fit Me concealer. Now this is from the same line as the foundation, and it is in the color 15 Fair. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start doing my concealer. I'm gonna keep it light. I don't want cake face, but we do need to brighten up, you know, our face. So I'm going to go in with my buffing brush. I'm gonna do that, and then I'm going to use this on top underneath my eyes to brighten up. Okay guys, I hope that you can see that it brightened under my eyes fairly well. This comes in several different colors, and then it comes in what is called the Brightener or Illuminator. I chose the Illuminator or Brightener because I know how dark I am under my eyes, and I know that I'm gonna always be using a concealer in conjunction with it. So it really, you know, for an easy day, a light day, this is perfect. And if you have a real big issue with under your eyes, then you might want to consider going with the Brightener over just a color that says light or something like that. I'm taking my Rimmel Stay Matte. I use this in almost every makeup makeup look tutorial that I do. I'm going in with, this is called a contour brush. I'm going to give it multiple purposes today. I'm going to go in with that and I'm going to set my under eyes. Okay, now I need to make sure that I set everywhere that I put concealer. And then I'm going to go in with, this is the Real Techniques powder brush. It's nice and fluffy. It's really big. I really like it. Now I'm going to swirl that through and I'm going to go ahead and go over my entire face with it. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with my Rimmel Scandaleyes, the, I think it's a nude. It is 005 nude. I think this is particularly important the older you are. If you're in college and you're putting in a lot of study hours or up partying late at night and everything, you need this too. But the older we get, the redder that our waterline seems to get, I've noticed, for me anyway. So I really do think that it's important that you put something on your waterline. If you're not going to use a liner there, then you definitely need at least to put this flesh toned liner there. It just gives you the illusion to people that are looking at you. It gives them the illusion that you're wide and bright-eyed and awake. So yeah, keep that in mind. Okay, now I think the next thing that I want to do is I'm going to take my NYX. This is the it's tinted brow mascara, and this is in the color Brunette, which is actually a little bit too dark for me, but for the purposes of the video we're going to go with this. And we're just going to kind of comb through because we want to set down not just an extra bit of color, but we want to put our brows down where they're tamed and they're going to stay in place. And so all it takes is just really just a little bit of brushing through. NYX is a great brand that you can find at CVS or Target. I don't think you can find this at Walmart. Maybe you can in some places, but I know that here where I live, you can't find NYX in Walmart. So, yeah, just keep that in mind. And like I said, I'm very aware that that is a little dark for me. But, you know, we're doing what we got to do. Okay, now I think what I want to do now that I've set my face, I have this. It's the Wet n Wild Color Icon Bronzer. It has an SPF of 15. It looks like this. Okay, I'm just now opening this myself. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to the brush that I used to set, the contour brush, and I'm going to use it again, but this time I'm going to use it in this. And instead of really doing any contouring, I'm just going to kind of bronze up, warm my face up, and make myself look healthy. So I'm just going to kind of run it's powdery, and be careful. Okay, I am going to, you know, kind of go in the place where you would bronze just a little bit. But I'm only going to put a little bit, and I think you can see why. It's very pigmented, so you have to be careful. Just be careful where you lay it at, because we're trying to, you know, create a shadow, of course, but at the same time, it can get muddy really fast if you're not careful. So I'm just going to kind of do up here around my hairline just a little bit. And then, of course, down under my chin. Okay, guys, I'm gonna put the bronzer away. I think you can see that it warmed up really nicely. It warmed up my face very nicely. Now, one of my favorite brushes is this Real Techniques blush brush, and you can see it's stained. It stays in and out of my rotation all the time. Most of the time when I'm doing makeup looks for you, I use my Morphe and those kinds of things, but on a day-to-day basis, I do use my Real Techniques a lot. I really do. They're very good quality brushes. I'm going to go in with This is Physicians Formula, and it is called their Happy Booster, and it says it's in natural. It's got the little hearts. I love this. It's really cute, and I swirl all these colors together for blush. I just swirl them all together. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of give myself a little light dusting of color here. Okay, I have taken care of my blush. You hear Izzy shaking. She's a mess. Okay, one thing that I do want to bring to your attention when it comes to highlighters. Well, when it comes to bronzers, highlighters, blushes, anything, Physicians Formula is one of the best, well, in my opinion, one of the best brands at the drugstore. They're not as price friendly as some of the other brands. You can find brands like at Walmart, you can find Wet n Wild, and you can find Hard Candy, and you can find those kinds of brands. But they just don't do the job that other brands do, like Physicians Formula. So even though Physicians Formula at the drugstore is a little bit more expensive than some of the other brands, whether it's Maybelline or whatever, they have beautiful products. This, for example, is their Powder Palette Mineral Glow Pearls, and it is in the color Bronze Pearl. They all have the little brush on the bottom. This is beautiful. So what we're going to do is we're going to take, let me find the brushy. I'm going to use the same brush again. This is my contour brush. I'm just going to kind of dust it off a little bit to make sure that there's no brown powder left, because you can get by as long as you wash your brushes regularly. The best brush cleaner there is the cleanser that you can purchase to go with the Beauty Blender. It's the Beauty Blender, or the Beauty Cleanser Solid, or whatever. And all it is, you just unscrew it, and it's just got like a cake of it. You can see it's got a little thing it sits on there. It's just a little cake of soap. You swirl your brush under some hot water. I use hot water, but I swirl my brush around, you know, and then I rinse, and you know, I even do this and, you know, kind of pinch it up to squeeze out the makeup. But something that I think it was Nikki Tutorials I saw her talk about, she said that anytime you go to a hotel or any place where they provide the little miniature soaps, to grab those, because those are like Beauty Blender solids, and you can use those to clean your brushes. Oh my gosh, I have like 5 of them now, and I've been cleaning my brushes with them, and it works just as good as the Beauty Blender solid. I am so impressed, and it was for free. So don't ever leave your little, you know, soaps behind. Keep them. But guys, that is the best trick ever. So that was a great life hack. So thanks, Nikki Tutorials. I really appreciate that. Okay, now back to what we were doing. I'm gonna go in with this Bronze Pearl from Physicians Formula. I'm swirling this brush around in it, and I'm just gonna hit the top of I want to give myself enough of a glow that I don't look like Skeletor. Oh gosh, but you know, you guys know by now how I apply, and so that's what I'm going to do right now. Now, we all know that I'm a little extra. I've always been a little extra. I'm going to go ahead and top that with a little bit of my Wet n Wild in the Precious Pearls, or Precious Petals, sorry. You guys know that I love this. It was limited edition, and it can't be found anywhere, but there are tons of highlighters in the stores that are nice and glowy like this. And I prefer this. The dewy look for me, I feel like it makes my skin look just a touch younger, because young skin, it is dewy. And the older we get, the drier we get. And so we need to moisturize, you know. And I'm putting it there on my chin, on my Cupid's bow, and then in the C. And I think that you can see, you see this shine right through here? See that? Can you see this side? I just like that look. I think that it looks really nice. So we're gonna go in with that. Now, I feel like that it's still toned down. It's age appropriate for someone that's young, and I think that someone that's older could get away with it also. Now, let's finish up our eyes. What I'm going to do, instead of going in with a powder on my eyes, I'm going to use, this is the Revlon Luxurious Color Eyeliner, and it's in Sueded Brown. It's one of those that has the smudger on one end and then the pencil on the other. Now, I like this because it has the smudger. If I'm going to go in with an eyeliner on the top or the bottom, either one, I do want it to have a smudger because I don't want to leave it in clumps. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to apply this on my lower lash line and then smudge it out. Okay guys, I hope that you can see, once you smudge it out, it just gives a softness to it. Now, it is time. This is I think Revlon or L'Oreal, let me see, Revlon. It's just eyelash curlers. Okay, I'm gonna curl my lashes. I told you guys, I'm trying to use everything I've got that is drugstore and not use any of my higher end things. I mean, I have a great collection of things, but when it comes to my makeup, I do tend to prefer many products that are in the high end, on the high end, and you know, it's because I've used both and I know what I like in drugstore and I know what I like in the high end area, and it's just, it is what it is. Okay, I'm gonna go in with my Rimmel mascara that can be found at Walgreens. Okay guys, I think that that's a pretty good coating of mascara. Now I want you to look at my eyes. I only use two colors. I use the matte brown in my crease, and then I use the other color, which it's a little bit of a satin. I used it as the overall color. Then I used it to brighten my actual mobile lid and my brow bone. Okay? Alright, now I'm finished with my face. This is all that I'm going to do. If you want to do more color correcting, then you're going to need to invest in something like I use, like my Urban Decay, that's a little higher end, or is higher end, or you're going to need to look at the drugstore. I know NYX has a color correcting palette that I've heard is pretty good, so keep that in mind. But if you're like me and you want to cover this redness, but for an everyday normal look like I've got going on right now, I'm okay with this, because running errands You know, I'm trying to get things done. I'm not worried about, you know, a little bit of redness on my cheeks. I mean, it's 95 degrees, 100 in the shade, and nobody's looking at me. Everybody has red cheeks down here right now. So yeah, just keep that in mind. So what I'm going to do to finish up my look, I'm going to go in, and you can choose, this is going to be my Rimmel Exaggerate lip liner in Enchantment. Okay, and I do prefer the mechanical ones, you know, the ones that kind of dial up rather than the ones that you have to sharpen. And the reason for that is it just, for me, I don't like the idea of accidentally scratching myself with the wood. And I'm the same for the eye. I just prefer, you know, the ones that kind of will move up for you. Now, you can get away with a nudie color. This is kind of a pinky nude. You can get by using this with just about any color. If you are going to go into the dark family like berries, reds, colors like that, then you will need a different kind of liner. But as long as you're in the nude, mauve-y, dusty, regular pink, bright colors, a nude lip will serve you just fine. You don't have to have one that matches. I know years ago you had to have the matching liner with the matching lippy, and you know, the lipsticks and everything today are much better quality than they were during that time. I know ColourPop sells some gorgeous lippies, and they have the matching, you know, liner. But it's just my opinion that if you're trying to save money, then, you know, just get you a general nude that can pretty much go with anything. The whole idea here is that it's going to be helping to keep your lipstick in line, and it is going to make, as the day goes on and your lipstick begins to wear away, this underneath, it's going to keep it from being quite as noticeable. Do you see what I'm saying? So keep that in mind. Okay, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to line my lips, and then I am going to put on, this is my Maybelline Color Sensational in 705 Blushing Bud. Okay, and it's kind of a nudie pink also. Okay guys, so that's the look. You can see it's very natural, but yet you can definitely tell that I've taken time to get ready. I'm taking pride in the way that I look, and I did it with all Drugstore, not just products, but Drugstore brushes and other tools. The only thing that's left is just put a setting spray on, and L'Oreal has the best setting spray at the drugstore. It is like $17 or $18. It's expensive. It does last a long time. NYX has one that's much cheaper. It's in a much smaller bottle, and I don't know how good it is because I've not used it myself, but from what I've seen other people using it, they seem to like it. I do know that the nozzle on it doesn't seem to function properly all the time, but I just use the L'Oreal Infallible. It is the most expensive one right now in the drugstore, but at the same time, you know, it does a great job. It holds everything in place, and what a setting spray does, besides giving you longevity, it actually makes everything kind of settle down together, and it gives you a flawless finish that stays in place for a long time. Okay, let me go ahead and spray myself down. And you don't need much because it sprays out pretty heavy. So just always let it dry. And if you have anything on your face that was powdery or a little too cakey, it'll usually settle it down when you spray your when you spray your setting spray on, it'll usually settle down anything that is too, what's the word I'm looking for? That's just too cakey looking or too powdery. Have a little bit of a eyelash there. Okay, now guys, please keep in mind that I did not have the right color for my brows, but I think that you can see that it is a natural look. A natural look that's easy on your wallet and age appropriate for just about anyone. Well guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you learned something. I hope that you saw some products or tools like brushes and things like that that are good to use if you're on a budget. I hope that you see that this would be a really pretty, easy look for a young lady that's just beginning her makeup journey. And then also, you know, I feel like that not only is it appropriate for my age group, which is middle-aged, I feel like that this would be beautiful on someone that is the age of, say, my mom. In fact, my mom is the one that inspired this video. She asked me for a list of things that she needed. She's been trying to learn from me and by watching my videos. And so I made her a list, and then she had several questions. You know, I thought it is so much easier to talk to people than it is to try and communicate via text. So she inspired this video. When we started talking back and forth, I realized she thought that she was too old for eyeshadows and things like that. No, Mom. No one is ever too old. It's the application and it's the colors. If I came in here and I started with that Tenacious Teal that I bought from my last makeup look, and I slapped that on, I didn't blend it out, and I didn't try to tone it down any, and I went out and I'm 55 years old, people are gonna look at me funny. Because if you've got gray hair, you better, you know, I mean, you know, I don't want to be one of those old ladies, and I'm not trying to offend anyone, but I know that you know the little old ladies that look like they're about 90 and they've got jet black hair or bright red, thick, either a wig or hair, depending. Usually it's thin, but it's just bright, and she hasn't aged gracefully. She's fighting it by using as much color on her hair as often as possible. And she has her eyebrows drawn on, and it looks like she's used either a black or brown Sharpie and bright shadows and a bright lip. You can age gracefully and still enjoy makeup without looking funny or like a clown, or, you know, just because you have bright colors on, it does not make you look younger. You need to embrace your age. Please embrace your age. And so this is something that I felt like that anybody can do, and it looked nice. Mom, you can do this and it will look great on you. You have great skin. I know you don't think that you do, but you do. So you can do this. It's easy, and it makes you look healthy. It makes you look younger, and it definitely shows that you have tried, you've put in an effort, and people will notice. And they will notice not because it's makeup on your face. They'll notice that you look brighter and you look, you know, more, you know, awake and alert and bright-eyed, and they won't know it's because you had a great technique with blending your shadows or keeping your face blended and that sort of thing. They'll just notice that you look healthy and bright-eyed and happy. And so that's what I want for all of you too. Whether you're young, whether you're old, whether you're middle-aged, whether you're rich, whether you're poor, it really doesn't matter. You can get a great makeup look from the drugstore, and you can make it look nice, and you can do a light look like this for every day, and this would be great for an office look, or this would be great for any time. That, you know, depending on where you're going or what you're doing. So I hope that you learned something. Please, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. That always helps me so much. Thank you for watching. If you're new, please subscribe. I would love to have you be part of my YouTube family. We have a great group of folks here. I'm slowly growing one by one, but that's fine. I'm just enjoying sharing with you guys. So yeah, that's gonna be it. I hope that you will join my family, and I will talk to you guys later. Thank you. Bye.